things. Okay, automatically sharing. Okay, good. Now, what we have discussed in last class, guys? If you are telling that, based on that, I can repeat it. What we have discussed? Get method. So, okay, we are doing of card operations, right? So, okay, let me open up that one component. Any go to model class, line test. Yeah. So, last class we have discussed about the card operations of Hibernate inside Hibernate, right? Now, let's say first I'm going to explain about create employee, right? So how to create the employee? So if the table is does not exist in the database, okay, if the table does not exist in the database, now by default it will create based on Hibernate dialect. We are using of Oracle dialect, so we are using Oracle database, that is the reason it will create based on Oracle dialect. Hibernate will create table if does not exist in the database. Okay, that is this one. So based on this Hibernate, Hibernate will create the table in the Oracle database based on this. If you are giving as MySQL and if you are installing in the MySQL, then it will insert the it will create the table in the MySQL database. Okay. Now let's see. First create employee. As part of create employee, so I have created one method. So we can pass the data many ways. Okay, by creating a separate private method or by directly passing the creating object of Pojo class and setting the data and then directly in Casa I can pass off Pojo class object also. Okay, anyway is both are same. Okay, now let's one more. Employee, his salary is some 30,000. Now first one, what I'm doing, create method. Okay, now let's run it. Now what is the create employee? What is the table? Let's see. Now Hibernate card. Go to database. Select start from. Right now we have 3 records. Okay. Now let's see whether it is done or not. Not yet. Not yet done. Yeah, now it is inserted. Okay, now it is inserted. Now let's go and verify in the database. Sorry, let's go and verify in the database. More record is created today. Okay, now what we are going to do now, we will do one more operation. The creation is done. Now next, get the employee by ID. Get the employee by ID. If you want to load that, so retrieve. Getting means retrieve or selection. Card means out of card, create is done. What is mean by card, guys? So you or the card operations means, guys, the name create. Yes, normally we'll call it as a simply card operations. Okay, out of that creation is done. Now let's go for a retrieve. Okay, on based of some ID. Let's go to the implementation of this class. So I'm creating up. I'm using on what basis I'm getting, based on get method. There is some difference between get and load method. Anyone has any idea, guys? Anyone remember that at least one point? Yes, okay, good. And load method will not hit the database directly. It will not hit until whenever it is calling non-primary key column, whenever it is trying to get the data from non-primary key column, that time only it will hit the database and then it will return the data. Okay, good thing. Okay, next. And any other example, one more point, guys. get method, if the data is not there in the database, get method simply will return null value. If the employee ID 3 is not there in the database, it will return null. But in case of load method, it will throw the exception object not found exception. Okay, now go to here. So two ways is there to retrieve the data. One is get method, other one is load method. Okay, both I am enabling. Let's enable both. Okay, go to, after displaying this employee ID, only it will hit the database. Let's see. Maybe if 20 is not there, means it will throw the error. Object not found. But load method, get method will not throw the exception. This is for loading the data. Okay. Let's see whether the employee ID 3 is available or not. Yes, it is available. Let's wait. Yeah. Object not found exception. No row with the given identifier exists in the database. Okay. Now we have some more things. Already some data might be returned. Okay. Yeah. Go a little bit up. Yeah. Make it big. This is for the load data. This is for loading the data. Okay. And the first one is getting the, this is for by using get method. Okay, this is for load method. Okay, sorry, this is for getting the data which is already available in the database, the employee ID. Okay, the below part is, this is for loading the data which is not there in the database. In case of get method, it is not giving any error. Okay, simply it will return null. But in case of load method, it is throwing the exception object not found exception. Based on this, you people should understood, if the database, in the database, if the employee ID is already available, then sure, then in that case compulsory we should go for load method. If you are not sure about that, then it is better to go for a get method. Is it clear, guys, this part? If you know that compulsory the data is there in the database 100%, then go for a load method. Otherwise, better to go for a get method only always. Okay, that is the preferable. Now next, update. So update the employee. So before going to update that, we should load the data from the database. If the employee ID is there, then only we can update the data, right? So for that, first whatever the primary key that we have want to load, we want to update. So for that primary key, first to get the data from database. If employee ID is not null, okay, then only modify the attributes whichever you want. Okay, and do that, begin the transaction and update that employee. Then in that case, only the employee salary will update. Okay, so there is one more thing I told you, one more annotation. What is that, guys? If we are not giving at a dynamic update, what will happen? If you are not giving at a dynamic update, what will happen, guys? Not remember, I'll explain again. So if you are not giving at a dynamic update, okay, at the time of update query, so while updating, Hibernate will generate some query, right? That time it will re-update everything, all attributes which are not modified attributes also, it will add in the update query. If we are adding at a dynamic update in the on pojo class annotation, on top of pojo class, we are adding this annotation, then whichever the modified attributes, whichever modified attributes are there, we are trying to modify, with that only the Hibernate will create a update query. Is it clear, guys, this part? Clear or not, guys? Let me give up some 1 lakh and enable that. Now we will see, with only we have modified only salary. Okay. Okay, if you are not using of salary means then it will create all with all of them. The update query it will create, Hibernate will create that. That is not good way. In current case it is only 3 to 4 columns, but in case of real-time projects it is of some hundreds of columns also will be there sometimes. Okay, that time it is of not a good practice to do that. What happened? Employee ID does not exist. Which employee we have given? Employee ID 2. Now let's go and see. Oh, employee ID 2 might be deleted. Let's go for employee ID 5. Okay. See, guys, did you observe that this employee ID is not there? Okay, that is the reason it is giving this part. But in case of load method, if you are using, it will throw the exception. Okay. Now let's change it to 5. What is the current employee salary of 30,000? Okay, let's make it. So for update, we'll use update method. Okay. Session dot everything will perform the operations on session only. Okay, every operation session dot save, update or delete, whatever you are doing, it is on top of session only will perform that. Okay, see that update employee cut employee update table name set salary only, and where employee ID equal to 5. Now let's go on refresh it. Okay, now it will change it to 1 lakh. Okay, now simply the same way one more thing is delete. Okay, now let's go and delete of 5. Okay, I've given a employee ID is 5. Okay, now let's ready. Let's comment this part and do this. Now delete query generated, delete from employee where employee ID equal to specific one. Now let's go and select it. Okay, now employee ID 5 is deleted. Now let's see the other part. Is it clear, guys? The card operations, what are the normal things? Okay, now we'll go for a HQL. Okay, with a different example. Today I'm going to show you some other example also. Okay, is it clear now, guys? I'm going to HQL now. I'm moving to. Okay, now what is HQL? HQL means Hibernate query language. We have one more query language, Hibernate criteria query language. That is part of criteria will come. I'll explain it later. Now we will discuss HQL, Hibernate query language. Okay, it is also same as like SQL. Okay, in case of SQL, now we will write the select query like select star from employee, like that, select the columns, all those things we'll write it. Okay, but in case of Hibernate query language HQL, instead of table name, we will use Pojo class name or model name to get the data from database. Internally, the Hibernate will compare with that employee model class with table, whichever it is associated with the database table. Based on that, Hibernate will generate the query. Based on that, it will return that. Okay, we no need to write. So, and Hibernate is a database independent query language. Okay, because we are using class name instead of table name, we are using class name, right? So whenever any modification is done also, we don't need in a database, if we are doing any modification also, we no need to do any changes because we are using a Pojo class name instead of we are using Pojo class name instead of table name. So that time we don't need to do any changes from our programming level. Okay. Now, Hibernate supports joins also, left join, inner join, outer join, all these joins also it will support. Along with that, it will support of aggregate functions, count function, max function, min function, all those things, sum function, everything it will support. And apart from that, arithmetic operations also it will be supported by HQL. Okay, and so we will see with the example. Okay. Have created some sample data with two tables with employee and with address table relations. I have created one project. So what I have done is so if employee table created, okay, and this employee ID is a primary key in employee table, okay, and address table also created. Okay, every employee have one address. So that address I am storing in a different table based on some key relation between employee and address. That is what the employee ID in employee class is a primary key. If I'm using that same in the address class, then we'll call it as a foreign key. Okay, foreign key relationship between employee and address table. How to create foreign key means in the child class table. Okay, in child table, what I am doing, how we are going to create a primary key constraint name primary key, that primary key column name. But in case of foreign key, constraint constraint name foreign key instead of primary key, foreign key, and that employee id in that table, current table, employee underscore id is a foreign key in this table. And from where it is referring, from which table, which column it is referring, that references employee underscore hql table. So employee underscore id as a primary key compulsory should be there in the employee table. Whenever you are inserting any record in the address table, that whatever the employee id is present, you are going to insert in the address table, that must and should be there in the employee table, then only it will insert. And while deleting also compulsory, directly we can't delete the employee record, whatever the record that is associated in the address table, first we should delete off the child table, then only we should delete primary table. Okay, parent table. Now through example also we'll see that. Okay, and some sample data also I have given for your practice. Okay, you can directly run this. Okay, and project structure I have given what is required. Now let's go to actual project. To actual project. Now let's this is a form employee table, employee underscore HQL, this we know up to now. Okay, now I have added some extra things in the address, guys. Okay, don't worry about this. This is normal things that you people know. These are for named queries I have added. For named queries I'm giving for some queries, some names I have given. Based on that, we can execute that queries. That we'll discuss in the soon. Okay. Normally, just for time being, this is not there. Okay. On top of Pozo class only, we'll add these queries. Okay. Now later is all this I primary key column. So I'm giving of employee ID. It is not unique is true and not nullable equal to false. Nullable equal to false. I'm giving of strategies foreign key relationship with employee table Okay. Now the rest of the columns is there is no big thing, and I have added of employee class as well, employee property. Why it is means to give the relationship between primary key join column. Okay, this as part of this table, as part of this employee class, employee underscore id is a primary key column. Okay, that I am using as a foreign key in the address table. For that purpose I am using this annotations. Okay. Now next, go to, there is no changes in the util class, and and in the configuration file we need to add up the employee and address. This is also no change. Whatever the model classes that we are doing some operations, compulsory we should add in the Hibernate configuration file with mapping tag with the class equal to employee and address. Okay, now let's go to HQL test. Now let's go to HQL test. So to get the data from database using HQL. Now instead of using of full query, instead of using normal query, I'm using from Pojo class name. Okay, what is the table name, guys? Actual table name. What is the actual table name for employee? Actual table name is employee underscore HQL, but I'm used here as employee. This is of Pojo class name. This is of Pojo class name. Let me, yeah, this is the Pojo class name that we need to give from employee. Okay, from employee. Now it will create a query object session dot create query of session dot create query of Pojo HQL query. Okay, now on top of that, if you are calling that create query, it will return the query object. It will return a query object. On top of that, if you are calling list method, then it will return all the data of employees. All the data of employees. Now let's go to here. Let's go to employee class. So as part of employee class, id is there, generated is, we are giving of identity. That means we need to pass the value. And next is one to one. So employee contains mapping with address table, with address table mapped with address table. That annotation also we need to give. And cascade equal to means whatever the operations that we are doing on employee class, so all that will be applied to the child class as well, or dependent class as well. That's what the cascade means. That's what cascade means. It has along with update, insert, all those things is there, right? It has insert is also there. It contains one second, yes, all, delete. Okay, and delete is there, and save is there. Okay, and other operations, delete and save update. Okay, so I'm doing whatever the operation I'm doing on employee, it should perform in, it will perform the same in child class as well. Okay, control z. now now go to this class. Let's comment off these parts for time being, and whenever it is coming we will do that. Now, so what I'm doing now, I'm using a from employee. Now let's see. It will load from employee. Employee is depending on address also, so it will load of address details as well. So employee contains address. From address, it will return of address object. Again from that address I am getting city. Okay, now let's see. Error in named queries. What we have done? One second, guys. 17. Go to employee. Go to address. Now let's see. It is displaying of employee 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, employee ID as well as employee address city. Okay, if you want, we can get all details as well. Now let's, if you want, go to, instead of this, go to generate to string method. Yes, to string method. The address, leave it. So address has some other details, right? Okay. Now to give off and inside this it will give address as well, right? So dot get address will give off address. Okay, now let's go to this and then print of control shift yes to string method. If you are calling, then it will display of it will display the details of all the address details. Okay, instead of object name it will display the details. So now I am displaying of employee and address. Okay, now address of employee. Okay, now give address object. Now let's go and print, and we'll give up some break for employee to employee. Let's run it. See that? So all employees and their addresses. Employee ID Ashok Panda 100 and his address. Okay. If you go to the database and then you can verify that. Okay. Underscore HQL. Now select star from address. Okay. Now employee ID 1. Employee ID 1 who is Ashok Panda and his salary is 100. Right. Now his address is Patni Center, Pune and zip code is 560037. Now let's go to employee ID is the matching for the between the both tables. Okay. Employee ID. Okay. Here is the primary key column. In the address table, it is a foreign key column. Employee ID, Patni Center and Pune on this one. Okay, depends on comparison it will do that. Okay, is it clear guys? First one. Now the second part. Now we'll go for a second one. Come to this. Getting is, now we are getting of all details. Now if you want to get by using SQL particular query, some particular query, then normally how we are select star from employee, where we will give where class. Now here also we can give where class, where instead of column name we will give property name. Okay, for that we can give positional parameters or we can give some names of for parameters. For that parameter name we need to pass value. For that parameter name we need to pass value. Now employee ID 3 is Navin. Okay, now so I'm getting for that single employee. Okay, now let's only employee name and city. Okay, now let's go and run it. It should print what it should print, guys. Now Naveen and his address is city. Need to check off his address BTM first stage. Okay, now let's see his name is Naveen and city is city, right? City is Bangalore. Okay, city is Bangalore. Is it correct or not, guys? Clear, right? Get and load, I'm using create query and using of HQL query with where clause. Okay, now we'll go for one more update query. Okay, now update query, if you want to update something, so by using HQL query we can update also. But guys, most of the times we'll use HQL only for retrieval, not for update and deletion and insertion. Okay, most of the times we'll use HQL to for retrieval only. Okay, but for time being I am explaining other operations as well. Okay, now what I am doing, so employee ID 1. Okay, already his name is Ashok Panda. Let's try to update some name. Okay, Ashok. Remove Panda. Now let's run it. So normal, normal query of SQL query. What is that, guys? Update table name, right? Yes, table name and set parameter or param equal to value where id equal to some value, right? Here update, it is a POSO class name, not table name. Everything is same, but only you will perform everything on top of POSO class and properties instead of tables and columns. That is the main difference. Okay, now go here, run as. Now let's see, it is update states equal to count. It will return execute update will return number of how many number of records is updated, that count it will return. That's what it is displayed here. Now let's go to run that, change it to Ashok instead of Ashok Panda. Now we are going to delete operation. Now we are going to, whenever we have parent and child relation, okay, whenever we have parent and child, then that time we should compulsory take care of foreign key relation between parent and child. Whenever any primary key is there, so first we should delete the child table. Okay, if you are trying to delete parent table first, it won't allow to delete. Now what I am trying to do here, first I am trying to delete address and then I am deleting employee. Okay, if I am trying to delete first employee and next delete, then it will not allow that. Okay, let's try to do that. Okay, delete employee underscore delete from employee where emp underscore id equal to just to give 4. Okay, now it will not allow to delete. Okay, the reason is it has some child relation, see, it is not deleted. Integrity constraint, foreign key violation, child record found. it is founding some child record. This employee table fourth record is having relationship with some other table. So first we need to delete child table. Okay, first we need to delete child table. That is the reason I have given first delete query for address table. Next I am giving delete query for employee table. Okay, now let's try that. In this case, first it is delete the address table. So there is no relation with the employee number 4 with any other tables. It has some relation, before it has some relation with address, that first we deleted. After that we were deleting employee query. So in that case it will give succeed. Now let's wait. Now see that is how it is generated. Delete address first. Okay, delete address, it is deleted one record. After that delete employee, deleted one record. Okay, if we are reversing that, let's say now go and verify in the database, the fourth record is deleted. Here also fourth record is deleted. Let's try to do reverse. Okay, if you want, Control X, just to replace in before. Okay, that's it. Give the it should not work actually. Okay, now let's see. See that it is not working. Okay, so child record found. Is it clear, guys? Okay, now yes, the people who are listening are not it's understood, right? Only one person is giving reply, right? Not understood, just raise the hand, guys. Okay, don't hesitate. I'll repeat it again, doesn't matter one time or two times, three times also. Okay, now next one is deletion is done. Next part is I'm doing some aggregate functions. One aggregate functions. Okay, now let me enable both. Okay, just I'm doing up some sum means, instead of in case of for all we can use from employee. If you want some aggregate functions compulsory, we need to use of select. It is like normal query, but here the table name, in case of normal query it will come as a table name. Here it is coming as a poso class name. Okay, now and I'm using of join also. Okay, join the data and then retrieve it. So here also it will come sorry, select employee dot name. What is e means? It is a alias name. It is alias name for employee table. Whatever the columns that is part of employee, through this e I can get it. E dot name and a dot city. What is a inner join of e dot address? Okay, it is relation with e dot address. It will return address object. So that address object alias is a. Okay, from that I am expecting of city. Okay, now let's, it will give the matching records between employee and address. Guys, what is inheritance? Anyone? Okay, now see that the second part is displaying of the details of name and city. Ashok Pune, Jaya Hyderabad, Navin Bangalore. Now the summaries of salary is go little bit up. Summaries of sum of all salary is 600. Now sum of all salary is 600. Is it correct? 100, 200, 300. It is 600. Okay. Now, so the aggregate functions is done and joins also done. Is it clear, guys? This one. Now we are moving to some other concept. Okay. If any doubt is there, ask me, guys. I'll repeat if any doubt is there. Otherwise, I'm moving to next concept. I've given all those details here. Okay. But you people need to enable and then work on it. Okay. Now next is named queries. Next is named queries. Now let's go and remove this part. Time being. On top of address, add of somewhere I have written that. Yeah, here I have highlighted. Okay, guys. Now let's add on top of address class. Okay, so what is named queries? Okay, what is named queries means normally if you have many number of queries, okay, instead of multiple places you are referring the same query, okay, instead of writing that duplicate query multiple times, okay, I am writing that query in some mapping files or some on top of entity beans or model classes, okay, on top of entity beans or model classes. That name I can utilize in anywhere in the project. That query name I can utilize in anywhere in the project. Okay, we can write the named queries for HQL as well as native SQL. For both, we can write named. We can give names for the queries, and that name we can use in actual classes. Okay. Nothing, guys. Named queries means whatever the query that we are going to execute, you are planning to execute in the database. You are giving for name. You are saving somewhere with one name. Okay, for that query, you are giving some name. With that name, you are referring in the actual class wherever you are calling, wherever you want to call that. So with that name, you will call that query. Okay, that is what the named queries means. Okay, the annotations used for named queries is named queries. Okay, it is the main annotation. Inside that whatever the query that we are going to give, okay, we can write multiple queries also. So the main annotation is at named queries. Okay, if you want, you can go and see at named queries. Inside this I can write multiple named queries. This is queries multiple. Okay, inside that named query means it will represent one query. Okay, like that we can write multiple, like that we can write of multiple named queries, named query inside named queries. Okay, now let's go and see that. So and first attribute is name. Okay, for query you are giving one name, HQL to get all employees, HQL to get all employees. What is the query? HQL query for, guys, get all the employees. Guys, what is the HQL query to get all the employees? From employee, not employees. From Pozo class name employee. Okay. The first attribute is name of the query, and second attribute is query, and that query name we need to pass it here. Okay. The query we need to give. So whenever you are using this name, okay, internally the Hibernate will execute from employee query. Okay. Now let's go and start it. Let's run it. You can write this logic also. Let's run it. What happened? Error in the named queries, unexpected token greater than salary star, expected token star nearly number one. Okay, 1 second. Where? Anywhere star I have given. Okay. No, it should not give. Okay. Okay. Very wrong, guys. Now let's run it. Search skill is not mapped to. Oh, sorry guys. This is of not employee. It is of I'm writing SQL query, right? So that is the reason. Let's see. Employee table contains employee underscore salary or salary. This is of salary. Address table employee One second. Let's for time being remove this and then try. So if it is giving or not, we'll come to know. Yeah, see that now it is returned. Okay, clear, guys? Now based on ID we are going to get. Now this is the query name for getting that. Now let's go to address based on control Z. Now replace this with control V. Okay, now one more is we have already tested this one, right? Now one more, anything else want. Now this is fine. Okay, now I'm giving one more. So what I'm doing, this is of HQL query, right? Salary greater than salary. Okay, now let's go to enable it, control C backslash, comment this part. This is not required. Okay. Let's run it. Okay, what happened somewhere? Errors. Okay. Using of same object. That is the reason it is using of employee. Okay. It is pointing of this only. No worry. Let's divide it. Operation to be clear. Yeah, now see that. So where employee ID is we are passing. The second one is employee ID we passed. Okay, now go and check in that employee ID 2 Jaya and his address is Hyderabad. Now this is of second one where employee ID name is Jaya and Hyderabad city is Hyderabad. This is for getting based on ID. Okay. Next one is get employees based on salary. I want to get the salary whose employee is greater than 2000. Sorry, 200. Right or not? Our query is what is our named query here? Employee ID where salary is greater than 200. Now let's see who is having greater than 200. Now let's 200 only 300 is there, right? So it is of we are using only greater than, right? So that is the reason only we got of employee 3. Employee 3 is having 300. Okay, greater than 200. Now let's go and one more. Let's go and do of native SQL query. Native queries. Okay, native queries. Now let's to address table and write as so for native queries we need to use of at named native queries. Inside that named native query, okay, select get all addresses, get all addresses. The this is a SQL query, guys. Select employee ID, employee name. If you are running this query in the database, okay, same it should give, otherwise it is not correct the meaning. Let's see whether it is a native query or not, or if any modification is there, then we will change it, the query. Yes, the same query is running. So normally in case of Hibernate queries, HQL queries will not work. Okay, now the meaning is this is SQL query, right? Now let's run it. Now let's run it. So the name we have given is the name we have given. Now let's copy paste and check it. See, session.get named query of SQL get all address. So query dot list, but in this case it will return a list of object arrays. So normally in case of previously we got list of employee objects directly, okay, right? But in this case it is not like that. SQL for SQL queries we need to convert them. Okay, we need to convert and then we need to get the data from array. Okay, now let's see. Now it is returning of list of object arrays. Each object contains one employee object, one address object, right? Now let's run it. Sorry, it is of address only, right? Sorry, it is address only. Now let's run it. Print this object. Now let's see how many of address objects are there. We will see. Three address, Patni Center, address KBHP, BTM first stage, Bangalore. Now let's see. Nothing guys, here the named queries means we are providing some names to the queries. That name we can use in multiple places instead of duplicating the query. It is of simple queries, but sometimes we may write up some hundreds of lines of code query. Okay, 100 lines of query also will be there. Okay, so instead of referring that 100 lines of query in the multiple places, I am giving some name to the query, and that query I am referring wherever I want. Is it advantage or not? The named queries. Guys, are you able to hear me? The advantage is they're compulsory. Let's say if I want in some other class, okay, we are writing some hundreds of controller classes, hundreds of classes inside of any other places. If you want, then directly instead of writing that query, instead of writing the query which is part of this one, okay, just writing query like this, directly I can use this name wherever I want. Okay, directly it will return the list of data. Okay, see that now it is written Patni Center Pune 560038, and next KBHP Bangalore Hyderabad and 510 516 last one is third BTM first stage and Bangalore and 5600 560100. Okay, this is what the named queries. Is it clear guys what is named queries, right? Then I am moving to next topic guys, inheritance. Just now the people someone told what is inheritance. Getting the superclass properties into subclass is called what is that guys? Sorry, I think somewhere inheritance employee address. Let's make it queries. Here I think there is some wrong is there. This paste it. Okay, now clear and make it highlighted for that for your reference. Okay, now next one is inheritance. Okay, inheritance means getting the superclass properties subclass will called as a inheritance. How exactly it is supporting inheritance in Hibernate? There are three ways is there. Okay, let's say for suppose I have one superclass, okay, and subclass. I have one superclass. Let's say I have one superclass called some person. Okay, let's say person. He contains some ID, some name like that. Just assume some properties is there. Okay, and that class is extended by let's say for suppose for time being leave it about the inheritance annotations. I'll explain more about that. Okay, there is one class called person. He contains what the properties of employee class, sorry, person class: ID, name, gender. Okay, ID, name, gender, three properties is there. Okay, now let's say if I'm extending employee class extending person property, person class, then do I need to specifically again mention ID, name, gender guys? I'm extending employee class. Okay, employee class extending person class. What person class contains the properties? What is the person class? ID, name, and gender. So when I'm extending person class, do I need to really again I need to mention that properties here in the subclass? Not required, right? So because I'm extending that, so the employee class can get the details of person class as well, person properties as well, right? So no need to, when I'm saving employee, okay, I can set the data for ID, name, gender also. So that time it can save the properties of person as well as employee both. Okay, let's say for suppose, can I get the properties of employee class in the person? Can I get the employee class properties in the person class, guys? Yes. How can we get, guys? So employee class extending person class. So the person class properties can get in the employee, but can person class can get the properties of employees now? So I'm not extending anything. No, right? When I'm saving person, so only ID, name, shall, gender only can save it. When I'm saving employee, what all things can I save? Salary, date of joining, department, along with this person ID, person name, gender also I can save. Is it correct or not? Right? Now, in the same way, I have extended one more class. I have taken student. Okay, student is also extending person. Okay, so person contains ID, name, gender. As part of student, again school name, fee, and section. Okay, school name, fee, and section is there. So when I am saving person, only three properties will be there. When I am saving student, I can get off along with person properties, student, school name, fee, and section also will come, right or not? Now, how exactly the inheritance is going to save all this data? Okay, how exactly it is going to show means there are three types is there. Okay, table per hierarchy. Table per hierarchy means it doesn't matter how many subclass it is there. For all of them, only Hibernate will create only one table. Hibernate will create only one table. Now read it. The table per hierarchy, the name suggests for entire hierarchy is mapped to a single table. All parent, person, employee, student, everything is mapped inside a single table. But how exactly we are going to differentiate the employee record or person record or student record? How exactly we are going to differentiate means there is one extra column. We'll call it as a discriminator column that is going to distinguish the different classes, which class you are going to saved. Okay, based on that we can identify this is the record of employee class, this is the record of student class, this is the record of person. Like that we can differentiate. Okay, and as part of this strategy, as part of this one, the null values will be stored in the database table. Okay, if the values is not there for the corresponding, let's say, one second guys, let me one table. Now let me, how many things we have? Person table contains what, guys? person table contains person table contains what is that? ID, name, gender, right? Gender. Okay, and the next one is employee. Okay, what employee contains, guys? Salary. Now let's go and see. Salary, date of joining, and department name, right? Salary, date of joining, and department name, right? Department name. What student contains? Student contains school name, fee, and section name, right? Section name. Correct or not? Whenever Hibernate is creating single table by using for table per hierarchy. How exactly Hibernate is going to create table means single table. Okay, the table name will be the first one, whatever that is there here. Okay, person table. Okay, person table contains of ID, comma, name, comma, gender. Okay, gender, comma, salary, comma, date of join, comma, department name, comma, school. Let's see, school name. Okay, and fee and section. With all properties, the Hibernate will create one table. Whenever it is going to insert the data for person Person contains only three values. Then only three properties will be stored. The rest of the things will be null. Whenever it is going to save employee id, name, gender, salary, date of joining, and department, the rest of the three columns will come as null. Okay, whenever you are going to save student id, name, gender, and school name, fee name, and section name, these three will go as null values. Okay, that's what will happen. The meaning of the last line means. Okay, now let's go and verify that. Okay, now let me explain the annotations. Let me explain annotations. The first class is model class is person class. As part of this, as part, guys, if you are understood this one, the rest two is very simple. Okay, only very less changes will come. Okay, now let's see that first one is entity is common, at table is common, right or not? Right, guys, only what is the new annotation scheme here? Yes, inheritance at a discriminator column, at a discriminator value. These are the new annotations came into the inheritance part. Okay, the two all annotations are not required. The rest of the two is only at inheritance is enough. Only for the first table for hierarchy, we need of three annotations. The first one is going to explain. This is of single table means inheritance type is single table means it is of table per hierarchy. Table per hierarchy means it is going to create a single table for entire all classes, parent class, subclass, subclass, or for all parent class and child class, every for all it is going to create only single table. That is the reason it is the inheritance type. Strategy type is inheritance type dot single table. We have single table is there, joined is there, table per class is there. If you want to create a separate table for each class, then we can go for table per class. If you want to combine based on joins, okay, it will not having any duplicate data, but those tables we want to join based on some common column, that time we can go for some joined. Okay, those other two types will use of the joined and table per class. For time being we are using of single table means it is going to create a single table for entire hierarchy, for parent class, for child class, for sub child class, like that for all it is going to create only single table. Okay, now let's this is of differentiating the which inheritance type you are going to use. Now the next one is discriminator column. Okay, whenever inserting the record along with these columns, along with all these columns, one extra column is also will be there, discriminator. Okay, discriminator column. Okay, discriminator column. What is that? Discriminator column means the name of the column I am giving as record type. Okay, record type. What is the type of the discriminator column type? It is of string type. What is the values? If I am inserting person table, what is the value I should insert in case of discriminator column? The person type, or else person type. If you are giving, whenever I am inserting person table, one object along with id, name, gender, it will insert person type value under record underscore type column, record type column. Under record type column it will insert of person type. If I am inserting of employee object, okay, adding discriminator value is employee, discriminator value is employee. If I am inserting student, then it will insert of student. Okay, record type is student. Now let's go to the client class. Now you people will, I'm created one person object, set name and gender. Okay, person id will be generating. Okay, identity. Okay, now let's create it. Okay. Now next, Next one is employee. Employee bonus, department name, joining date, email, along with that name, salary, and gender. Okay, all these, all these are adding bonus, email, everything is there, but we have not added as part of here. Okay, just assume as part of employee object, those also will come. Okay, now I'm added all those things, and after that student object also I have created. I'm setting the data for name, gender, fee, school name, and section. Okay, now I'm saving up to person object, student object, and employee object. Okay, now let's check the database. Now go to person table, select star from person. Tabular view does not exist. Good. There. Good. Now let's run it. Now let's run it. Save it. Let me check here. Resources common, no change here. Only that classes we need to add, POSO classes, employee, person, and student. Now let's see. Created of is created of one table person. It contains of all the columns. It contains all the columns. Now let's see. It contains all the columns. When I am inserting, what is the, guys, did you observe? ID, gender, name, bonus, department, these are employee related. Okay, let's say ID gender name is person type contains, correct or not? Right, guys? When I'm saving person along this, so in the database, I should know which type of record it is. Person record, employee record, or student record. That record type, what is the name of the column is? Record type. That's what I have given discriminator column. Discriminator column. Okay? Discriminator column is record type. When I'm inserting person object, record type is person type. Okay, when I am inserting employee object, the record type is employee. Record type is employee. When I am inserting student, the record type is student. Record type is student. Okay, but the values is whichever that is not part of that. Whichever for person type, ID is there, gender is there, name is there, rest of the thing is null. Okay, let's say for suppose when I am saving student table. Okay, when I'm saving student table along with let's go and see that where is that client class. So what are all things? Name, gender, fee, school name, department is added. Now ID is there, gender is female, name is Shruti. Okay, and these whatever the null values, those are related to employee related one. The fee is 20,000. School name is Delhi Public School and 12th standard. Okay, whenever you are inserting employee and the type of this discriminator is, it is saying record type is, it is of a student. Okay, now whenever it is inserting employee record, okay, the record type is employee. This value we are adding on top of POSO class, guys. Whatever that we are added here, that value will come here for record type. Whenever it is inserting employee class object we are inserting, that time the record type will go as emp in the record type column. The rest of the values will be whatever we are setting in the whatever we are setting here, those values will go the rest of the columns. id, name, gender, id, name, gender, along with that bonus, department name, joining date, email and salary will come. The rest of the columns are related to student, so those will go as null. Is it clear, guys? In case of table per hierarchy, single table will be created. All those all the records will be maintained in the single table based on discriminator column. Okay, we can distinguish the record based on discriminator column record type. Is it clear, guys? If not clear, guys, I'll explain again. Other people are not responding me. Okay. So you understood that discriminator column will distinguish the records. Okay, based on the discriminator value which we are passing, based on the discriminator value which we are adding on top of class, that will go whenever you are saving employee object. If you are saving student object, then this will go as a record type. So based on this, I can say like this is of employee record. This is of record type employee record. This is of student record, this is of person record. So that means that I can differentiate based on this column, correct or not? Right, guys? Based on this column, I can differentiate the record, correct or not? If this is not there, I can't differentiate. It is very difficult, right or not? Correct? Yeah. Let's say if I'm 100 student, 100 employees, 100 persons is added. If you want to get only employees, so we can't get based on these columns, right? Based on this column only, where from this table, where record, where record underscore type equal emp means, then we can go to only employee records, right or not, right? But if this record type column itself is not there in the database, it is very difficult to get the data of all the employees, correct or not, right? Right, guys? Correct, right? Just assume that, guys, if this column is not there in the database, okay, can I get the student details? Only student details, not employee, not person. So if it is this column is there means, if I am giving record type is student means, then only student records will come. If this column is not there means, it is very difficult to get only the student to differentiate the data. Okay, this is of table per hierarchy. Table per hierarchy. That's what I have given here. The next one, table per concrete class. Table per concrete class. Table per concrete class means, so as part of this for each and every class person, okay, for each and every class it will create one table. For each and every one it will create of one table. For employee class it will create of with person with employee it will create of one table. Okay, now let's go on. In the above type, only one table is created person. Now the same code, if you are going for a table per class, table per class, table per class. Now let's go to model class. Inside the model class, what I am doing? So only this time inheritance equal to strategy type I am using table per class. Okay, for each table, for each class it will create one table. For each class it will create one table, the meaning of that. Okay, now for employee it will create, for student it will create, for person it will create. Okay, whenever it is inserting person. Okay, now let's run it. No differentiation, guys, only just add here this one. Okay, the rest of the two, there is nothing, no new extra annotations. Okay, no new extra annotations. Now next, run it. What is the table name for, guys? I have inserted one person, one employee, one student. Okay, three things. Now let's, what is the table name? I have given person underscore TPC, guys. TPC means just for identification, table per class. Okay. Select star from. See, it is already, there is some data maybe. Okay. We'll do one thing. It is of some constraint issue because of duplicate data. Okay. Now drop here. What to drop? Table name. Next, second, guys. Table name. Next, student. Drop table name is this one. Let's execute it. Okay, color dropped. Now let's run it. Not this, time test. The next part is, next one is joined. Okay, guys, I explained joins in the Oracle class. Inner join, outer join, left outer join, full outer join, like that, right, guys? The joins are used to merge the, to get the data from multiple columns. Sorry, to get the data from multiple tables. Multiple tables, right? Now see, leave the word done. Here it is created one employee underscore TPC table, one person underscore table per class table. Okay, student underscore table per class table. Three tables created. Now let's inserted one record in person with the three columns. Okay, it has only three columns. Student contains with all the student related columns. And employee contains with all employee related columns. Now let's go and search it. Instead of this, select from. Okay, now execute first one. So let's see what is the first one. Which one I have inserted? Let's see here. What is the first record? Raji, female, right? ID generated one, right? Raji and female. Now this is only person object. A person object contains only these details: ID, name, gender. Now let's say if you go to employee class, what employee class contains, guys? Along with salary, date of join, department name, bonus, and email, he contains of ID, name, gender also, right? That's what we are inserted here, right? Now let's run it. Employee table. See, employee ID is there, gender, name, bonus, department, date of joining, email, and salary. Is there any other columns, guys? No, right? Now let's, if you're going for the student also, whatever the student, along with student, it is having some person also. With that, it will create one table. With that, it will create a table. So this is what table per class. Table per concrete class, guys. Table per concrete class. Okay. Inheritance type we need to use here as table per class inheritance type. Okay, then in that case it will create each table for separate table for each class. Okay, now next, the next part is joined. Okay, What is mean by joined? What is mean by joined? Table per subclass. Table per subclass. The third one is table per subclass. The third one. Okay. In this case, in this inheritance type, each subclass table will have subclass specific properties only. Subclass specific properties only. Parent class attributes will be stored in parent class table. Okay. Now, and subclass tables will have foreign key relation with superclass table, so there will not be any duplicate columns in the subclass, guys. So one thing here, so in this case everywhere id name gender is created, correct or not? In the current class, id name only here generating, only storing in the first person class. Here it is duplicating, here also it is, these columns are coming, right? If I am storing these three in the person table itself, okay, then I will give relation between person table and employee table, person table and student table. Okay, that's what we are going to do in the table per subclass table. Now let's see. Now let's see. uh, Go to table per subclass. Yeah, everything is same, guys. Everything is same. Here inheritance type is joined. Before first one we are using single table, second one we are using table per class. This case we are using that table per subclass. The inheritance type we need to use joined. Okay. Now what is exactly the behavior of joined, that we will see. Okay. The table names are differentiated. Table per subclass. Table per subclass means table per subclass. TPS I have given. Okay, 3. Okay, now let's TPSC. Now let's truncate it. Drop table. Now, as part of client class, no, there is no other new things, guys. This is table name, that's it. No other, only the thing is that I have added in case of table per class, this inheritance strategy equal to inheritance type dot joined is used. Okay, now let's go to client class. Now, so I have created one person table and one employee class, okay, and one student class. But this time observe how it is going to save it. All id name, salary, id name, gender will be stored in the person table. Employee specific properties will be stored in the employee specific table, and student specific properties will be stored in the student table. And the inherited properties of student class, whatever that is inheriting, those will be stored in the person table only, but there is some join between them. Now let's observe it. Yeah, it is done. Now see that employee TPC created, student table per class is created, and one more, where is person TPC, it might be already there or what. Let me, now let's see. Select star from person underscore EPSC. Okay. It contains of 3 records. Maybe I have not deleted before, guys. EPSC. This many things is created, maybe It is creating of some duplicate things. Creating of some duplicate guys. This one I'll explain tomorrow for 5 minutes. Okay. Actually, it should not create duplicate records. It's creating some duplicate records that I'll verify and I'll explain it tomorrow. Okay, guys. It's only this last one table for subclass. I'll explain tomorrow. Is it clear? Yeah. Because it should not create duplicate records, but it is creating up some duplicate records. I'll verify that. Okay. Now I need to go to bring my daughter from school. So I'll explain this tomorrow, guys. Okay. The last part. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'll share that recording for all. Okay. And the document as well. Thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow again.